Me. Oh.
You.
I'm gonna have to leave that in. Hot dog, man. All right, go ahead.
Well, hot dog. All right.
I don't know why. I don't know why I'm tickled by that so much.
All
Anyway.
right. Finally, Dead Game has come back to your podcasts. My name is Wally Phelps.
And I am Carlos Longoria.
And today we are going to be discussing the awful, terribly good game series of Double Dragon.
Yes. Wait,
How's you
Wally,
going?
you didn't tell me this. I will drive over there, sir, and I will give you one of these.
Why, yada.
Yeah.
Why, you little. But,
Yeah.
but,
Don't you talk about my Double Dragon.
but like I said, my name is Wally Phelps.
And I am Carlos Longoria.
And we are sitting here live from the space station, looking down upon all of the wonderful arcades down there playing Double Dragon.
Yes.
And from my count, there's only 3 now open.
There is 4
across the country.
That one. Oh my goodness! Yeah,
but before we get too far into it, because we'll talk about what your experience is with it and whatnot.
Yeah, definitely.
How have you been doing? What's been going on in your life?
You know what? I not a whole lot. A typical, go to work, come home, eat some dinner and whatever. Um, Man, we had some. So my fiance made some Alfredo, shrimp Alfredo the other
Ooh,
night,
I love it.
and I tell you what, she cooked it separately. Like she did it in a way to where she just made the pasta Alfredo kind of thing, but she did it with like spaghetti noodles, and
That's not
and then
fettuccine.
yeah, I know it's not, but then she cooked the shrimp. Well, she did it, like whatever. She's like, let's get some spaghetti thing. I was like, all right, it's fine. So I brought home some spaghetti for her to to use for that.
Mhm.
And then she got the shrimp and cooked it separately though, and did not mix it in, because the plan was to use the shrimp for like other things too. She was like, yeah, we'll just
Oh.
like we can eat this shrimp and put it in this or that, or whatever. Or if we want to have a salad, you can throw some shrimp on there. Simple stuff, because we're trying to eat out less, so we're trying to cook more and like be like, hey, we like shrimp, we like seafood, why don't we make like this, bag of it, and we'll have extra, and then and we'll have some
Right.
for the next few days.
Because that sounds lovely.
And you know what, it did last, honestly, it lasted nearly a week. um I just cooked the last of it this morning, or rather reheated it, I guess you can say, because it's already cooked. And man, but I tell you what, she seasoned it really well. It came out fantastic. It's fantastic stuff. And so I used the last of it this morning. I made this kind of goes along with another story. The other day, we didn't feel like eating shrimp that night. Because you're not gonna necessarily
You've
eat it
had
every
shrimp
day. Yeah,
for so long.
I know. So so uh, so what I did is, there's this gas station that's on my way home, on my route home, and a lot of people are like, "Ugh, gas station food." No. Some of these places are pretty darn good.
The Jacob
Um,
Craig seal of
yeah,
approval.
I know. Yeah, Jacob. Yeah, I was gonna say Jacob. When Jacob said that, I was like, you know what? I will not disagree. Some of these gas stations are making some
I
pretty darn
mean,
good food.
you're in Louisiana. That makes sense. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
and rural Mississippi also.
That also makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I stopped and I got some. They do fish, and they're about the size of chicken tenders. They're not like large portions of fish. You know what I
Gas
mean?
station fish, ladies and
And
gentlemen.
I tell you what, yeah, I know you wouldn't think, but man, it is really good. They do it in the cornmeal and stuff. So it's breaded like
Right.
catfish. It's not catfish. I'm sure it's like, some kind of cod or pollock or something like that. I
Yeah,
can't tell the
because the
difference.
catfish around here are all
Yeah.
hardhead, so you
Yeah, I
can't
was gonna
really
say,
eat
so
them.
they're not really gonna, yeah, and but when you eat them, they're crispy on the outside. They
Hmm.
cook them to perfection. They do it really well. They're crispy and crunchy and stuff, and you break it open and the fish is nice and flaky and it's perfect. There's like it's cleaned really well.
Now
There's
you're
no like
getting me
silvering and
hungry.
stuff. I'm telling you. And they also do shrimp fried rice,
Ooh.
which I know I just said, nah, I
You
didn't want
telling me
shrimp.
a shrimp fried this rice?
Yes. So I was like, you know what? I want some of their rice, but I want some to have extra for day. And you go to the gas station, and if you get like a small, it comes in that sort of pint clamshell container. You know what I'm talking about? That
Mhm.
like a
I know what
side
you're talking
salad would
about.
come in.
Yeah, I know exactly
And
what you're talking about.
then so I was like, nah, let me I said, let me get a large. Now in my head, a large was like double the size because they have a container that's double that size.
Right.
What I didn't realize was until after I had made this purchase, like I'm just paying and stuff and everything, and it came out to more than I thought it was going to be. And I was doing the math in my head, and I was like, why is this like $8-9 more than I? Wait a minute now, and so and I never get a receipt because I get the stuff all the time. Like I'm there all the time. They're fine. So I never get a receipt because I just get food. You know what I
I
mean?
don't
What am
need
I
a
gonna do?
paper
This.
trail.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I don't need that. So
The feds will know.
yes, yeah, they'll know. Yeah. So so I'm like, so I was trying to do the math, and I'm standing up there looking at their menu, up on the board and stuff and everything, and the lady hands me the bag, and she hands me the fish. Now we get like 20 pieces of fish for like $16 or something like that. And but this was like 20 some odd dollars. Now we also got some egg rolls and whatnot to go with it. And because their egg rolls there are pretty darn good. They do chicken egg rolls. So anyway, so I go, all right. And so she hands me the bag, and I was like, and it is the it is the full size like heavy duty container and I was like, "Oh no, I messed up. That's why
I
that's
made a
why it was
tactical error.
I did." So it took us I told my fiance, I was like, "Hey, look, I might have just bought too much rice." And she's like, "Why?" I was like, "I was trying to figure out why it costed more money than I had anticipated." And I didn't realize there was that the one that I was thinking of was the medium. And no, they indeed gave me a large, and it's literally the size of the hefty to go plates, like for
Yeah,
a like a you would get
like a
like a
function of some sort.
yeah, like a function of some sort, but it didn't have any of the little wells in it, so it was like the flat bottom one.
So it just was like
So it was just
all.
all right.
Wow.
And they pile it in there. So we had rice for days. So I just finished the rice this morning because I made eggs and rice. I don't know if you've ever had eggs and rice, but down here you can buy it at a couple of restaurants here and there. It's kind of a thing down here. But so it's literally just the rice, is heated up, and you mix the eggs in there, and
Yeah.
and you just cook it like that. So and that's what I did with the rest of that shrimp that she had made. I got the rest of the shrimp, and I made it into smaller pieces ever so slightly, threw it in there, and I mixed it in with the rest of the shrimp fried rice. So it was fantastic breakfast, I tell you.
That sounds great.
So here I am. We're talking almost 10 minutes about food. I'm getting
Well,
hungry.
it reminds me. This story reminds me of the time that I went to Taco Bell and I accidentally. We all went inside and I ordered for everyone, and I inadvertently ordered $30 worth of Taco Bell for just two and a half people because it was my child was a much smaller person at that time,
Hmm.
and all she ate was the cheesy potatoes. She didn't, she didn't actually eat anything else. Uh, and whenever I told my wife at the time, my current ex, hey, I accidentally ordered $30 worth of Taco Bell. She's like,
Accident.
how did you do that? And it turned out I ordered the wrong, like, I thought I knew what I was ordering, but it was like,
Yeah.
oh no, I think I don't know how I did it specifically, but it was on April Fool's Day. And I remember this because I posted, and this is how I announced this. I posted on Facebook, man, I just ordered $30 of Taco Bell, and if my wife wasn't already divorcing me, she would be now. Everyone thought it was a joke because I hadn't announced that we were
Right.
splitting or anything like that. So
Right.
everybody was like, "Oh, that's ha ha," like, no,
Yeah.
that's serious.
No, no, this is a real thing.
And let me tell you, if she wasn't already divorcing me,
Boy, she would have.
she would have
But
been
you know
because
what's
she was not happy with how
but
I
you know
did
what's
that.
funny is like I'll order the cheap stuff off of the value type menu
Yeah,
thing. Like I'll get the
the
$2
$1, $2,
burritos and
$3,
the
yeah,
$2, $3 ones. Excuse me, and I'll get like two, maybe three to like last me like like I'll eat one or two of them for lunch and maybe I'll have another one for later.
have them in the hopper.
Yeah, yeah, or maybe I'll eat all three. I don't
We'll see how this goes.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll start off with you and then work my way to you.
Right.
And I'll get to you. Yeah, so we'll see. Occasionally I'll be like, nah, occasionally I'm a bottomless pit and I'm like, man, I wish
Right.
I got four burritos.
Like
But
when we are playing D&D, you're just always eating, so it's, you're
don't
the
know why
Brad
I
Pitt.
I don't know why I get what's funny is like I like I'll there's days where I just like I can't eat much of anything. Like and
Mhm.
what's funny is like sometimes occasionally that'll fall on the weekends when we typically go out to a buffet to eat. And
Of course.
that's our like date night kind of thing. We'll go at 11 o'clock in the morning to the buffet when it opens, and that's our
And then
little
we
weekend
close it
thing.
down. No, I'm
Yeah,
just-
yeah, yeah, and it gets shut down. They're like, oh no, they're back. But no, some days it's like I'll eat one plate and be like,
right.
time to get up pineapples and these almond cookies and some pudding. I've been doing this thing with the get the almond cookie and dip it in the pudding and don't know why. I don't know where it started from. I just started doing that recently. But other days
Whenever I was, oh, go ahead. Other
no, no, no. I was
days.
saying, but other days it's like, oh, I'll be on a third plate and I'll be like, I should probably stop. I
See,
don't know.
that's about how many plates I normally would eat. I would eat
Well,
maybe.
see, and I'll typically do two. I'll
Uh,
typically do two, and then like a third plate with maybe like one or two things on it, and
right.
like the dessert stuff that I'm
The
gonna eat.
things you would like to say goodbye to.
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly.
That's
Yeah,
the way.
my third plate is usually my farewell plate. So yeah,
Yes, my farewell tour.
my I'll see you
But
next weekend.
we used to have a guy who would come into the buffet that me and Jason from the Nerd Cave Retro used to
Mhm,
work at, and there was a guy that came in maybe 15 to 30 minutes before we opened, and he
mhm.
would sit there and wait for us to finish putting everything out,
Ever so
and
patiently.
then whenever it was time for us to open, he would get up, pay for his food, and then start eating. Then he would take a nap,
Okay.
and then he would get up and eat another round. And he would do that for
Oh
most
my
of
goodness.
my shift. And
Oh
it's
my god.
and the funny thing, the thing that always got me about this, this was like the late 90s, early 2000s,
Right.
and those magnetic bracelets were all the rage.
Right. Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
were
Yeah.
supposed to help you with your vibrancy and your health and
Right.
all this. And he just spent 6 hours eating a buffet that's
Right.
mostly carbs,
Yeah.
and he would he would leave to go to Walmart, and he'd tell us this. He would go to Walmart
I'll be back
and
now. Don't keep
and
driving me
walk
again.
around. He would just walk Walmart for like
Walk
the
off his
rest of his
food.
day. And I don't think that works.
No, I don't think that's how that
As
works
much
at
as
all.
he would be eating. But man, that guy,
No.
and we used to, I don't know what his name was. And he
Eh.
I hope he doesn't listen to our podcast, but we
He's gonna be the look. I told you. I told you.
right.
Man.
I mean, but we used to call him Uncle Fester because he would wear the exact same thing every time, and this is like he'd
Wow.
be there like 2 3 times a week,
Oh
and
wow.
but he would be he was a bald gentleman. He wore one of those magnetic bracelets, and he had a
Yeah.
black shirt that was way too big for him, and jean shorts, and we called him Uncle Fester because he looked like Uncle Fester,
Right.
and he was a very sweaty man, and
Oh no.
yeah, for I mean, our restaurant was cold in the
Yeah.
dining
Yeah.
area, so I don't know how this was happening,
Right. That's yeah.
but
I was like when you were saying, I was like, yeah, yeah. I know exactly what you mean. Like, our buffet that we typically visit on the weekends. It's hit or miss.
uh,
When their AC is working, it's generally a good
magnificent,
temperature.
yeah,
Yeah. Occasionally we'll get seated. They know us there. You know.
right,
So occasionally we'll get seated in the same two, maybe three spots. Once in a while, if we're like running behind and there's like other people there, then we'll get seated somewhere else, and then we'll get to where like the vent is like, just at that little angle where you're like you feel the wind just like blowing down your spine and you're like so
right,
yeah, but and then whenever the AC doesn't work, you also know it.
right,
Yeah.
because it
But
becomes
they've had it fixed
unbearable.
recently, so
Well,
yeah,
we
it should be fine.
luckily the guy who ran the place that we went to would fix the air conditioner pretty quickly because
Oh, well, that's good.
it the kitchen was unbearable if it went out, and it didn't
Oh
go out
yeah.
often. But man, I was the guy. The few times that it did go out, I was the cook, so to speak. It was the
Sure.
So I'd be back there sweating myself, like it was bad because the oven was like, I don't know how hot that oven got. It's like 500 degrees or some mess like that,
Mhm, mhm.
and it was one of those conveyor ovens. So like it's like a whole half of the kitchen is 500 degrees. So it's not great. But
Uh,
we just talked about food for almost 20 minutes. So let's
yeah.
let's segue into a game that has very little to do with food. Double Dragon, which is the game that you will be talking about tonight. And you discovered that there was a game that already existed. Uh, Please go on. Tell us what Double Dragon is.
So, Double Dragon, for those of you that may not know, um, is they call them side-scrolling beat 'em ups,
Mhm.
and you walk around. When I was young, showing my
When I
age,
was, oops.
they had I used to go to Funko Land, and if that tells you also, you
I,
go to
what,
Funko Land or even KB Toys,
wow, these are two
and
places that we didn't have even in the best of days.
is it really? Wow.
Yeah.
So I go to the Funko Land or the KB Toys, because I love to go into Toys R Us, but also I would go to KB Toys. I just said KB Toys because it doesn't really exist, and I know Toys R Us is trying to make a comeback, but they had a section. It says walk around beat 'em up because uh, this was the type of screen where you're on a plane that's on a tilt, so you can go up and down on the screen and walk around. That's why they called it a walk around beat 'em up.
Right.
Uh, but now it's just called a side-scrolling brawler these days, which is fine. I'm fine with the term, but it just like when I first heard it, I was like, "Oh, is that a different genre of game?" But anyway, it's a walk
Depends
around
on
beat
who
'em
you
up.
ask.
Yeah, it really does. It really does. So it's a walk around beat 'em up game. The premise of the first game and kind of continues into the remaining games. Uh, Billy and Jimmy Lee, two brothers, as it's described. They're it doesn't really specify whose girlfriend it is, so it's assumed
It's
these days
our
they were.
girlfriends.
Yeah, it's they're both of their girlfriend. Yeah, so that's how it's taken these days. Like, there's a thing about it,
I
and
mean,
I want to say,
that's a
yeah,
little weird, but okay.
I know. It's like, wait, and this was in the 80. I think it was 87 when this game came out.
I
So
mean,
this was like,
I
okay, wait.
don't so much mind the polyamory, but
I know,
that's
I
your
know. It's like, I
brother.
know that's fine. I know that's what I was thinking. I was like, So
Are they
what I think?
stepbrothers?
So, right. Well, one does have brown hair, sometimes black, depending on the artwork. But one has brown hair or black hair, and the other one is blonde. So, hmm, maybe they're brothers in like how you and I would be brothers.
Yeah, I mean,
It's type of thing. But
and their
it does say
last name
brothers.
happened to be Lee,
It happened to both be Lee. Yeah.
you know what? Maybe they're not
Mhm.
brothers. Maybe they were like brothers, as in they were in the military together, and now
Oh
they're
yeah,
married.
brothers in arms.
So they're brothers
Yeah,
in arms,
yeah.
and
So
now their arms are deadly weapons.
yeah, that's exactly, yeah. So
They're
I think
already improving the
for
lore
me,
as we go.
already the lower is getting better. Now, my personal take was this just happens to be like the girl that they were both interested in, and you know, and they just all hung out. You know what I mean? They both liked her. She wasn't necessarily dating either one, or maybe she was
Right.
dating both sometimes here and there, and it was just like, like, oh, I'll go out with you this weekend or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I
and
mean,
there
if
was
it was
no
my
real commitment.
actual brother, I would not date any of the people
No,
they dated.
and I agree too. I don't think I would date. If I
That
had a
would,
brother, I don't
yeah,
think I would date my brother's, girlfriend or whatever.
yeah. I mean,
But
not only do we have wildly different tastes, it's it just no. I mean, if she's dumb enough to get with that guy,
oh no.
how am I supposed
Oh
to trust
man.
you with anything else?
I right. You made a poor decision already, ma'am. No, this is not the one for me. No, but she gets kidnapped, and what's funny is not funny, haha. But like, what's interesting is that they show, and now this was at the arcade, but there were certain things that just weren't um uh allowed in certain things, you know what I mean? And then this was very it was a no-no kind of thing. They show her getting punched
Right in
in
the
the gut.
gut. Yeah.
Yeah, right in the gut. And you were just like, "Ooh,
That's
that
like the
guy just
first
punched the
thing
girl."
you
Yeah, that
see.
was the first thing. It was the opening scene. Yeah, she gets punched right in the
It's
gut and they
like
carry her off.
it's like winners don't do drugs.
Yeah, I know. I know. But they wanted to emphasize how evil these bad guys were,
Right.
and they deserved every bit of licks that came to them.
Right.
But but it was just something that you did not see. It was always like Mario. You never really saw, Princess Peach get kidnapped necessarily until later in the franchise. Like those show Bowser
My
go ho
favorite
ho
touch.
ho, and
Yeah, because
and
there's
but that's it.
famously
Though he just
at
grabs
the
her and they
beginning of
go.
Wario Sunshine,
Right, right.
Bowser grabs her and punches her in the gut and
I
takes her
know.
into the
That's,
fucking
I was
kingdom.
like, oh no, what? I saw
Oh,
that
oh,
the first.
oh, oh, oh.
Yeah, really. But that's my thing is like, until later they didn't really show it. They just told you as part of the story. She got kidnapped, go save the princess. It's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And essentially this is the same game in that way.
Double Dragon
Your
is essentially
princess
Mario Brothers.
it's
You heard it
essentially
here
Super Mario
first.
Brothers. That's my hot take right there. It's Super Mario with punching kicking.
Right.
But yeah, and so but yeah,
Just the same amount
oh,
of
wait a minute.
mushrooms.
I'll tell you later. Uh, uh,
Damn, this COVID cough is killing me.
Wait, I mean, and there are what would be referred to as Goombas, I think. So which is a term
Well,
that
that's a
I
racist term.
I know. So I'll say I'm not gonna no,
I'm not
but you know
saying
what I
it,
mean.
but
No,
they
I'm
do.
not gonna say it out loud, so it's even more Super Mario. Now, seriously though, the thing there is you're just fighting through waves of enemies, including women in this game. So they were all
Equal
about
opportunity.
equality. They were like, all right, women can get beat up too, and they can also kick your butt pretty good. Yeah, because they'll have weapons and whatnot and everything. And that was something that was different at the time.
Mhm.
You didn't
Right.
really see a female character very often,
On either
and
side
this
of the
was,
fight.
on either side, yeah, and especially whenever it was like a villain, like oh whoa, and like and they weren't pushover characters either. They weren't like
No.
you punch them a couple of times and they were easier than the male ones. So they were very equal or sometimes more powerful. So
Right.
yes, they did it fairly.
They're
So
very into the women's liberation.
yeah, yes, they were women's lib. She'll kick your butt. But yeah, so and you go to the end of the game, and you get to the final boss and whatnot and everything. You beat him, and if you're playing two-player, the game doesn't end
Yeah.
until you fight each other.
I forgot about that part.
and then the winner gets the girl.
Which is
So
how
that's
it
the whole.
works in real
That's
life.
exactly how. Yes, which is exactly how I got my fiance. I.
And that's why I'm single.
That's exactly, yeah. Because remember, Wally, whenever you also were trying to date her, and I was like, "I'll fight you."
I got punched
But
right
yeah,
in the. I was gonna say.
but yeah.
You know what? I'll say it
So
anyway. They punched me right in the gut and carried me off.
and carried you off on the on one shoulder. Yeah. So it was interesting, because that was also new for gaming too. It was like usually you team up and you fight the bad guys, and
Right.
you get to the final boss and the game's over. Yay, you saved the girl or whatever, and then all of a sudden like you beat the bad guy and then you're just like, nothing's going on. Did the game glitch? The game, and then you discover you can punch each other, and you're just like, whoa, wait a minute, you're taking damage because before you didn't take damage, and and so it was like, wait, so you found out real quick. Oh, that's what's going on. So yeah, that was the Double Dragon game itself. Now, Double
Right.
Dragon spawned from
I mean, I
the
gotta say before you go too far
yeah. Go ahead.
that I don't think we can improve upon this story at all.
No, I know, right? The story is immaculate and fantastic.
Mwah.
It's,
I
it's
mean,
a
it's a shame we
masterpiece
didn't get a shot for shot recreation in the film.
in the film. Oh my god!
Could you imagine Alyssa Milano
You
being
know,
punched in the gut?
Oh no. Uh, you know, I understand what they tried to do. Like, I get what they were trying to do. With her character and, but it
Right.
just it
Well, I mean, with the whole
I honestly,
movie, I mean, it's just
I didn't hate her character or anything. She was fine.
I was a giant fan
It's
of her
just
character, but only
yeah,
because of
I
my
liked Alyssa
absolute love
Milano,
of Alyssa Milano.
but yeah, but the rest of the entire rest of the movie was like,
Like, all
what?
right.
What is it?
I mean, whenever
And
I
the guy
saw it
that they did
as
a
a kid,
Bobo, and you're just like,
yeah.
What? Bobo wasn't a mutant. What's going on? What is this?
Well,
It
Abobo
was
looks
very
weird in the game, so I
yeah.
guess that's what they
Oh,
were trying to do.
yeah, but he was just a muscular
Yeah.
dude. And yeah, it was just yeah, I don't know.
As
But
a kid, I really loved the movie, and but
well,
at the same time, I think I knew intellectually that it was bad. You know what I
right,
mean? It's like the
right. Like
Mario Brothers movie. It's like I'm
I
glad I'm seeing a movie about the Mario Brothers,
that's look, you brought that up. I was gonna say, go ahead.
but
Yeah,
but why did it have to be this?
yeah. So
So it's the same
so
thought.
I have things that I do appreciate about the Super Mario Brothers movie uh itself. That like I understand what they were trying to go for, and I thought some of it looked interesting, and the costumes were fine. I like, what's funny is I like the idea of the boots, because I was thinking, the whole thing was jumping and running and jumping and stuff and everything, and I was like, I like the idea
Right.
of what they tried to do with the boots,
Right.
but
And the
the rest of it was
bomb
just
and
like, yeah, the bomb stuff was kind of funny. I like that. I didn't. I was like, wait, what? This is Toad? What? So, wait a minute now. That's kind of weird. And then
it really was, yes.
but I liked the fact that they did like everything was kind of if you notice like they were on the opposite type dimension. Like that's kind of how they tried to play it. It was underground. It was opposite. And
Right. Well, I know what they
and
were trying to do.
yeah, and everything was underground and opposite to what we knew as the world at that time. Like instead of having the fossil fuels, well, they didn't, there's no fossils for them. So they did the whole bumper car electric wires thing. It's just like, wait a minute, what's
Right.
going on with that? And so they had electric cars before it was even a thing. And I
I
thought
mean,
that was interesting. Like they thought of a lot of little things like that. That was interesting, I thought. But overall, the movie is not good. But I still have a lot of nostalgia for it, because I remember when I watched it. I did not get to see this in theater.
no, who
I
did?
I I really, I know, right? I rented that on VHS and
Right.
watched it with my dad, and that's my memory of that movie. Is me with my dad. We went to go work, and oftentimes we would go and stay on the job site and stuff and everything on in a little house and whatnot, and so that way we can get up, start working, whatever.
Wait, how
But
old were you at that point?
oh, I don't know, what year was this.
94?
Was it
94,
94?
95?
Um, so I would have been about 16.
16? So
Yeah, ish.
just after you were old enough to be working. So okay.
Oh,
Because there was
yeah,
this weird thing in the 90s, and it's not really weird to me.
yeah,
But in the
yeah,
90s, we weren't allowed to work until we were a certain age, but
yeah,
no one
yeah,
cared. We would
yeah.
be doing it anyway because
Right.
we wanted money. And
Oh, yeah, that was money.
so, like, I worked at the video store before I was old enough. I worked at I worked with my uncle resupplying drinks. I'm not going to say the name of the company because it might get them in
Sure.
trouble and they're
Nope.
still open.
Nope.
But I would drive with them and I would help him restock the shelves and stuff like
Yeah.
that for $20, and
Well,
it was great.
you know, and that's the thing is like I used to work with my dad growing up. Like we grew up, without a few things, but we found ways to make money as one did. You have to, if you're gonna, if you're gonna make it, you gotta pull your own weight sometimes. And this was the case, and, I wanted my own money. I wanted to I was at the time, like I said, I was about 16, so I wanted my own funds. So and I was out of school at the time, and, um, it was it was
Yeah,
available, so I
yeah.
rented this movie with my own $3 for whatever the rental was. I don't remember how much it costed, but,
God, back in
so
those days, it depends on if it was a new release or an older one.
yeah, might have been 3.99, 5, I don't know, depending on where you went.
Because I know, yeah, it depends on the store you went to too. Because we
Yeah,
went
yeah.
to that video place to rent this movie. I
Mhm.
remember because my brothers and I, what every Friday had this whole routine. We would go to that video place, and
Yeah.
we got to decide either, but we all had to agree on it, which
Right.
sucked because it was three of us. So we had to agree on either a video game or a movie. Um, and sometimes we would get I would just choose something because like look, we need to choose something. But
Yeah, yeah,
this
we
time
here, let's
we
get
were
this.
all in agreement. We want to watch Double Dragon. And it has the guy from Terminator. That was a great movie.
Yeah.
And it has
Yeah, you
martial
would think
arts in
it.
it. Alyssa
Yeah.
Milano from Who's the Boss is in
I
this.
know. Oh.
and and look, she looks super cute
Oh,
on the
she
back of
did.
this. And
Still does.
but we watched that movie, and what like I said, it was one of those scenarios where it's like, well, I'm glad this happened, but
Yeah. Yeah, the Phantom was better.
so let's talk about the most
Yeah.
recent version of this game. What was
So
that like?
so this game series started off from another game series known as Kunio-kun, which is here in the states. It's known as River City. And so the River City game. So River City, you think of like River City, Ransom, and excuse me, and the like. So and now they're actually still making River City games now. Like they made the River City Girls games recently and stuff and everything, which are a lot of fun. And so that's where this series actually kind of spawned from. It was also made by the same company, Technos Japan. Um, and the most recent game, or rather, they made. Let me see. This was 1987 when they made the first one. They made two, three. They made two different ones of Double Dragon 3.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then they had Super Double Dragon, which was on Super Nintendo, obviously. Battletoads Double Dragon, which I like
Oh, I
myself.
forgot about
They did
Double
Double
Dragon.
Dragon 5, The Shadow Falls, but that was not an actual. That one, Double Dragon 5, was based on the animated series at the time, which was terrible.
Oh yeah, I saw
Eh,
what happened on that. Have you seen
yeah,
that?
and I've seen that one. And that's the thing is like this was based on the animated series, which I used to watch some of it, and I was like, yeah, it's all right. It wasn't great. Um, but this game was based on that. And it was just a fighting game. It wasn't an actual Double Dragon game, and it wasn't part 5. It was just 5 in name. Just like, wait, what? And then they did the Double Dragon Advance, which I hear is really good. I don't think I've actually played that one. That one came out in 2003. Um,
Is
Double
that on
Dragon
the
EX.
list of games that just came out, or is that?
No, that was Double Dragon Advance. That was
No, I mean
2003.
for the I'm talking like the because they just
Oh,
released Game Boy and Game Boy
for
Advance games on
I don't
the
think that
Switch.
one's on there at the moment
Okay,
that I'm aware of. I have not looked at the
I
full
did
list.
not look at the full list, but I
I,
don't
I
remember
just
Double
heard about
Dragon
it and
being
I was
on.
like, I need to look at this, and I haven't not had the chance to look
Let
at
me
any
let
of
me
the
look.
games yet.
But go ahead, continue
But
while I'm looking
and
this
so
up.
they did one in 2006 called Double Dragon EX. I don't think anybody liked that one at all. But then
I loved it. No, I
in
don't know. I never played.
2012, uh, the company known as WayForward made Double Dragon Neon, and I will tell you, it is by far my absolute favorite version of Double Dragon to play. I own it on, it's available on Game Pass. So if you have Game Pass, you can play it. It's I believe it's a 360 game on Game Pass. So if you have that, it's available to play. Uh, Unfortunately, the console version only does local co-op. However, if you have it on Steam, which I do, you can do online multiplayer.
Hmm.
So it is the better version in that aspect. The some of the uh because they have dialogue, actual voice acting in the game, and some of the dialogue is slightly different.
Hmm.
Which I prefer the PC version. It's or the Steam version, I guess you can say. It is a much more fun time. I think it is very much uh, a love letter to the '80s and to this
Right.
game franchise in general. What they did was they revamped the graphics, so they are better than what they were at the time. So it
Hmm.
doesn't look like 8 or 16 bit. It's uh, sort of polygonal art, semi cell shaded. I don't think they're technically cell shaded, but they're actual little 3D models, but on a 2D type thing. But they look great, and they're this very over the top kind of humor, lots of jokes and references to the thing. For instance, there is a feature if you're playing two player. If you are quick enough, you might not ever lose a life if you're
Ooh.
playing two player. Maybe.
If I,
Uh,
I wish I
yeah,
became immortal when I'm hanging out with friends.
I know, right? So what it is you if you get knocked down, if one of you get knocked down, if you're playing two players, one person gets knocked down and loses all their health, the like, let's say player two gets knocked down. Player one can run over to him, and if you stand over the other player, a prompt appears with depending on whatever I think it's like B on Xbox and circle on PlayStation and whatnot. So you press the button and you have to mash the button repeatedly quickly. A little icon at the bottom of a cassette shows up that is unwound and unspooled, and a pencil, when you press the button, a pencil goes in into the thing, and it's rewinding the cassette and reeling the tape back in.
That's
So
awesome.
it's funny. It's great. I love that little those little details is what makes this game a joy to play. Cuz they didn't have to do that. You could have just been like, they could have put a little timer. You could have tried to pick him up. But it's fantastic. Little pencil goes in the tape a spooler, and it just like whoop. And but you have to do it quickly because the enemies will attack you during this time. So that's why I said maybe you won't lose a life, cuz they will come after you.
Hmm.
Now the enemies aren't generally too aggressive. They're aggressive enough to where it's not like super easy, but it
Barely an
is not.
inconvenience.
Yeah, barely an inconvenience. Well, but it is not overly difficult to where you never get the opportunity.
Because
So
I'm looking
if
at
you
the screenshots and
Mhm.
I don't know how I would describe the art style.
I know it's very unique, like compared to the rest of the franchise,
Hmm.
it is very different.
Interesting.
So
Wow. This is
so
actually another thing that I discovered just now
mhm.
is that it is on Game Pass
Yes, yeah, that's what I was saying. You can get it on Game Pass on the console, but the
as
console version
a.
only lets you play local co-op.
Well, I wonder if this version, because like the first thing that pops up whenever you Bing it, because I'm using the new Bing. I don't know. I'll
Oh yeah,
talk about that later,
sure.
but I searched for it and it says, "Hey, if you want to play that, you can play it by clicking this button." And that's wild. So that it could take me directly to that game. So if anybody's
That
using
game.
the new Bing, you can start playing this game right now as he's describing it.
Interesting. Yeah. Interesting. I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, I heard about the new being. I haven't I don't think I've done the update thing yet, or
Well,
rather
you
had
got
I
yeah, they
signed
got to
up for
put you
the
in
thing, but this
right.
was only like yesterday or day before that I did it. So, I know it takes a little while. So, uh the other thing that I love about this game is the music.
Ooh.
Music is
Is
fantastic. It is
is it that
very
synth
80s.
wave?
Yeah, it's fantastic. And
Ooh.
so the uh intro song is a remake of the original Double Dragon theme, which I already liked, but it is remade into like 80s type music, and you need to hear it. I will send you the thing. But all of the songs on there are very much, some of them are actually have singers and stuff. So there's actually like somebody singing in the background and stuff and everything along to the music, and as an actual whole song playing, and they are fantastic.
There is
So,
a because I'm looking through this trying to find the soundtrack,
mhm.
but what came up is a limited run Double Dragon Neon collector's edition for Switch. That is
Oh yeah,
$400.
yeah. I am not paying $400 for that. Thank you.
What?
I
Why
love this
not?
game, but I am not playing. Number one, I don't play on my Switch anything except
Yeah,
for
I've sold
the.
mine.
It sits there on the dock. It's been sitting there for months. I switched it on like one time the other day to check and see if there was anything. Hey, yeah, you like what I did there? And I checked to see if there was anything new. I was like, all right, I've had enough. Yeah. I
I
just
have
don't,
had
like,
enough.
I don't
Yeah.
have as much interest as I thought I would. Now there are some games on there that I enjoy playing on the go on the Switch. Don't get me wrong. I am not saying I never play it, but it is far less than I play my, on my PC or anything else.
Right.
So, but I will highly recommend, this game, Double Dragon Neon. If you have to try a Double Dragon game and you want to have a good time, Double Dragon Neon, get it on Steam. It is worth it.
And if you want to
And
play a double dragon game and you want to have a miserable time, play Double
then get
Dragon
the
5
Xbox. Yeah, get Double Dragon 5, or get the Xbox
for the
version of
Genesis.
Double Dragon Wanderer of the Dragons, which was made in 2013, 1 year after this game,
Ah.
and it's terrible. The hit detection was really bad. Nobody liked it. It was bad. Now that same year, they re-released the Double Dragon trilogy. So in 2013, you get the
Ah.
Double Dragon trilogy, which I do own. Um, and so you can get Double Dragon 1, 2, and 3, and that is available on that's available on Steam. I think it's on consoles too. It is on mobile. I do also own it on mobile.
Oh my god. You're such a
You,
mobile gamer.
I know, but it has all three games, and they play fantastically. They play just like the arcade because they're the arcade versions of these games.
Oh,
Um,
that's pretty badass.
yeah. So they're the good versions. They're not like, it's not like the
Nice.
Nintendo one or whatever that was like, yeah, it was all right. And then in 2017, so just a few years ago, they released Double Dragon 4. And you say, wait a minute, didn't you just say there was a Double Dragon 5? Yes, yes, you are correct. So
All
I
this
don't know
Final
if
Fantasy
you,
numbering.
yeah, so I don't know if you ever watched Top Hat Gaming Man on YouTube.
I do not know.
He does like reviews of like old games and stuff and everything. So I was, as I was like, I did, I'm going to tell you, I own this game.
Hmm.
I have not played it.
Oh, okay.
Because I was like, oh, nobody's liking this game. I don't know, and I just never got around to it. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not one
Right.
to like take everybody else's opinion, uh, necessarily. Like, oh, that's absolute fact. I'm gonna never play this game. I just never got around to it, and I forgot that I had it. You know what I mean? That's all it came down to is I
Yeah.
forgot all about it, and that's all.
Mm.
Um, but, from what I understand, it is a lot of people complain because they went to the Double Dragon 2 graphics, and but it but it doesn't play as well.
Oh my god.
And they intentionally put in flicker and, like, stuff, and sometimes the
I
screen
mean,
doesn't look right.
that would be okay if
I
it's done well. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
but yeah, from what I understand, it was not done well.
Oh my god.
Sometimes the enemies are cheap. They'll stand over your knockdown body and hit you immediately as you get up, and things like that.
Oh.
But you can also do the same thing. So if you knock down an enemy, you can stand over them and just keep mashing punch or whatever it is.
Yeah, but I don't think
And,
that's
but
fun.
I don't. That's Yeah, I was gonna say, but that gets really old really fast. I don't
Right.
want to do that. So there were things about this game that just people did not like at all. They talk about how enemies will wait for you at the top of a ladder. Like if you're climbing up at a ladder, they'll walk over to the ladder and be like, "All right," and you can't attack as you're going up the ladder.
Oh my god.
So they'll knock you down, and if they stand over your body, oh well, good luck trying to get a punch in. And here you lost a life now. So it
That's
uh
awful.
I also saw that they added more platforming to this game. So they have 2D only sections of the game. So there's
Mm.
no up and down walk. It's literally left and right only, where you have to platform from things. So now you're losing lives from falling down pits and things. So it's
That's not
like
even
it's
something the
not a
original had. I don't even
yeah,
know what
it's not.
that.
Now I will say that Double Dragon Neon does have some of those in it, but it is
But they play
nowhere
better.
near. Yeah, but it is handled fine. You know,
Interesting.
there's plenty of like warning that this platform is about to fall, and there's plenty. You know what I mean? Like you can tell it's done better. So
Huh.
whoever did this version of the game, and I want to say it went back to the original company and stuff and everything, but I don't. I don't. I don't know what they did. Nobody's liking this game.
Right.
What I want to see. So with Double Dragon Neon, I don't. You haven't played this. I'm guessing, right?
No, I haven't played it now.
See, I wanted us to play this game together sometime this week. I had a lot going on
Right. Well,
and
I
just
did too,
could
so
yeah,
I
and
didn't
yeah, I
have a
know
lot of
you and I
time
didn't really have a lot of communication this week. So
because we were both really
yeah,
busy.
we were both really busy. Yeah. So um, but I wanted us to get together and play this because I wanted you to experience this,
Right.
and I may still, like I'm still up for it because I have it on Steam, and Steam does let you do the remote share play together on this, so you
Mm.
don't have to own it. I do,
Right.
so you can play along with me,
Well, I mean,
and
if it's on
you
Game
know,
Pass, we could play it anyway.
no, because it's local co-op only. There's no
Are you
online
sure?
multiplayer. Yes,
On the
I tried
Xbox
it.
360?
Yes, I tried it with our friend Ron.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Did not work.
Well,
There's no,
that's
it doesn't work.
outrageous.
It does not work. So I looked it up, and that's how I found out. No, you cannot play online. Like there's
That's
definite
garbage, and I
answers.
hate it.
It is only Steam that you can play online.
I
So
hate it.
yeah, that's why I knew this part. But um, as you go along, there's like different ridiculous things. So in this Double Dragon Neon, like you know you have to fight a helicopter at one point, and this is like it's very over the top 80s type things that go on. And the jokes are there. At one point you're in space, and uh if you're playing on the Steam version, like they'll you leave the you leave the chamber and you step onto a bridge, and they say outer space, and guess I better hold my breath. you know, and you can visually see the character go
That's
and take a
really
breath,
funny.
and the entire level you're holding your breath, like you can see their cheeks puffed up and stuff the entire stage, and you're getting hit and knocked down, and you're still holding your breath the entire level. So it's hilarious, you know. So it's little stupid things like that that made it fun. Um, so the main antagonist of the game is a villain called Skullmageddon. Now, given this name, I don't know if you would guess what this villain sounds like, Wally.
Skullmageddon?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing that pops in my mind is Skeletor.
Exactly. He's so exactly. You know, and you know, honestly, I have
Hello,
not.
Lee brothers.
Yes, he is exactly. He is like he's sitting down. So the first time you meet him in like the second stage, and you get up, you know, and you're in outer space and stuff and everything, and you get to his throne, and he's sitting reclined back on his throne, like you know, like he's not doing much of anything. And he sends away his minions that are next to him, you know, and everything. And, you know, and it's like, who are you? You know, like the Double Dragon guys,
The
Billy and
leaves are like,
Jimmy.
who are you?
Yeah, the leaves are, who are you? You know, what have you done with Marion? You know, and you know, or something like that. And he, you know, dismisses the goons, and they're like, all right. And so he gets up and he goes, "I'm your worst nightmare." It's
I'm
like,
your worst
it's
nightmare.
funny, and you're just like, what? But he looks cool. You know, it's cool looking, but you
I
know,
was tired of fighting He-Man.
yeah, I know. You know, I don't even know. I still haven't looked. I keep forgetting to look up whether or not it's the guy that actually played Skeletor or not. I don't imagine it was, but you know what I mean. He sounds exactly like him. I'm not gonna bother doing
Right.
it right now, but
That's
he sounds
funny.
exactly like
I
him,
mean,
and it's like, what?
that's what I've been doing this whole time, just
I know. Let me
looking up
see.
all the stuff.
Let me see.
Uh,
I look up who voiced Skullmageddon was Sean Velasco, who apparently was in the River City Girls game. Now, I own River City Girls and I played it some and I like it. I
so
have
that
not
makes sense.
finished the game. So is the guy who was actually apparently was a director for uh the Double Dragon game. So as the one of the guys behind it. So it wasn't the original Skeletor guy, but he sounds a lot like him. I'm gonna tell you,
Wow.
and I enjoyed it. And so you fight this guy, you know, and whatnot and everything, and you go to the end of the game. And I'm not gonna spoil the end because it is over the top ridiculous. But you do so much ridiculousness in this game. It is just a good time the entire time you play it.
Well, that's
You
what we're
do.
looking for is a good time.
Yeah, a good time is what we we're always looking for a good time. So
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge, say no more.
so I you know, so I if you ever want to play a Double Dragon game, I highly recommend this one. I play it multiple times a year.
So what you're
Um
saying is that the next Double Dragon game should completely ape the feel and the gameplay of Double Dragon Neon.
this is exactly what I'm saying. I struggled so much trying to figure out what I wanted to improve. Now, compared to what is out currently, any improvement, I don't care what it is, would be an
Would be an
improvement.
improvement.
It
Yeah.
would be an improvement over the last couple of games. But go back to Double Dragon Neon, get WayForward to do the game again, and do a sequel to Neon and do it Neon 2 or something, you know, and they'll have to call it something else. Maybe they can do it in the 90s era type thing, you know what I mean?
Well,
Because they did.
what would be the equivalent type of like Double Dragon? What?
I don't know because what was that whole thing? Remember in the 90s, everything was those shapes and had the squiggly lines of and paint everywhere. You remember? You know what I'm
Yeah,
talking about? You know what I'm
I
talking?
don't know
I
if
don't
that
know
had
what
a
that's
name.
called. Oh wait,
That
maybe it was punk. Maybe punk was a thing in Neon.
no,
No, that
yeah,
was not
Punk
really.
was a thing, but that wasn't it.
That
Punk
wasn't
was
really
like
the
a
thing. Yeah.
because
Hmm.
Punk in the '90s was more the commercialized Punk
Yeah. True.
of
Yeah. True.
the Green Days and the Offsprings and
Man,
things of that
I don't
nature.
know what Neon would. I mean, where would it go from Neon? Yeah. Hmm.
Um, what's a good aesthetic
Uh,
from the 90s? You know what? Let me Google or Bing.
yeah,
What
do the new
is
thing.
a good aesthetic
Yeah, use that.
from the 1990s? All right, what does it say? Uh, okay, how about this?
Oh yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Double Dragon fluorescent.
Fluorescent? Yes. I could see that. Yeah, sure.
Because it says here, generally, these are some of the key qualities of the 90s aesthetic: vibrant colors like bright yellow, pink,
Yeah,
purple, fluorescent green, cerulean blue, neon lasers, abstract shapes, which is what you were talking
sure.
about.
Yeah,
Bold, abstract, geometric shapes were the
yeah.
standard in the 90s aesthetic. Fun patterns from the 90s rave posters and their trippy background grids to geometric shapes applied to wallpapers and carpets, and patterns were everywhere.
It was.
patterns, fun patterns such as film reels, carpeted movie theaters, and squiggly lines for arcades. So yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it was just like yeah, it was all shapes and squiggly lines and all that. This is like the whole thing. I don't know
so
what that
so
was.
I have two suggestions really.
Okay, okay.
Um, Double Dragon fluorescent or
Hmm.
Double Dragon grunge.
Grunge. Yeah, I could see that one. See, because that could maybe they could do something in the grunge kind of music to go
Right,
along with the game.
exactly, and
You
have it
know.
set in Seattle like this,
Yeah.
and they have to, there's a huge fight at the top of the Space Needle,
I know. Oh, I can see that.
and you know what'll
I
happen? You know
hope.
what? The villain is a uh is a Frasier type character.
Oh no. Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. So at the end, you defeat Skullmageddon, and you're fighting him in space. So I'm gonna tell you this part. I'm gonna tell you this part. You're fighting him in space, and you're on like an asteroid type thing,
Ooh,
something. You're on a
you
space rock
bet
of
your
some kind.
asteroid.
Yeah. Yes. And you beat him, and like whenever you beat him, he like flies back onto the ledge, and he's teetering back. Whoa, type thing. And all you have to do is just go and hit him one time, and he falls all the way down to earth.
That's amazing.
And but it's funny. And the entire time he's falling, the credits are rolling, and so you're So yeah. So I'm telling you, this game was like really well thought out. So he's falling down the entire credits.
You know,
And
and
what
during the
else was big in
credits
the
for the new
80s?
one, oh, what was that?
Follow the bouncing ball. So there's a song that he's
that is
Skullmageddon is singing.
exactly that is
Skullmageddon
exactly what I was hoping
is
for.
singing this he's singing this song about how you went and like all he wanted to do was get a date, with Marion and
All
stuff and
I
everything,
want
and
to take
you
you.
and yeah, and you ruined everything and blah blah
That's
blah,
funny.
and so it's literally a song about the adventure you just had, and it's fantastically done, and you can go along because there's a follow the bouncing ball on the lyrics at the
That's
bottom, and I was
magnificent.
like, that was fantastic touch. Those minor details are what make me love this game so much. All the
Right.
little things that they threw in there that have no
Yeah.
importance. It
But
doesn't
it's
affect the
just that
game, but it
it's
makes
that
it
extra
fun.
sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So, but like before he lands for the final shot, um, and I don't want to tell you the final shot. of what happens because I want you to see it for yourself for the very
Right.
first time. And but he's before he lands, he's like, "I'll be back to antagonize you, Billy and Jimmy." So I'm hoping they do bring him back.
You
If
know
they
what?
bring it, and
He could be the big bad, but we would need to have him be what would
maybe he
what
would be
kind of
behind somebody else. Like
yeah,
he's
what's a
secretly the
skeletal
villain
yeah, what's a
like
skeletal bad guy from the 90s? Like
from the
there had to be somebody.
90s. The New
I
Adventures
know
of
there were
He-Man.
well, the new adventures of He-Man. I was actually thinking like Army of
Uh,
Darkness.
yeah,
Uh
yeah.
let's get the hell out of here. But no,
But that's the thing. Yeah.
he
So
can even do the
all I'm
Sally
hoping
for
for. There you go.
Sally for
So I have very little to contribute as far as to what I want to see, other than please make a sequel to Double Dragon Neon. Forget Double Dragon 4, forget the Wanderer, whatever the heck the title is for the Xbox one that they did.
right.
As
Neon or nothing.
Way Forward needs, yeah, Neon 2 or nothing.
And you
That's
heard it
what
here
that's
first,
how I
folks.
that's exactly as I you won't get my money. They will, but you know what I mean?
Well, I think with that we need to go. We've been here for over an hour now,
Yes.
and you said you had nothing to talk about.
Well, what I meant was like I didn't have any. I couldn't think
You
of a
didn't have a
single
lot to
improvement.
add, yeah,
Yeah,
to this
because
Neon
I
game.
love this game so much. It's just a this episode was just a love letter to Double Dragon
It's the Double
Neon.
Dragon Neon, and
Yeah,
I
this is
am going
what
to
it
play the
is.
game now that I see that it's uh on a Game Pass, and I can
Yeah,
play it
yeah, yeah. You
on
give
the
give it a
PC
try.
right now if I
So
wanted to.
so one thing about this game, I'm gonna tell you right now. So what they did with Neon was they combined aspects of the previous few games. I'm gonna make it quick because I know we're wrapping.
Mhm.
So you start off, doing this, just a regular you're a walk around beat 'em up, but you actually can level up your character's stats,
Right,
in the like special moves and stuff by collecting cassette tapes and things around that the enemies will sometimes drop. The more of those you have, the more powerful that particular attack becomes. Now you can also
which makes
choose
sense.
your what they call a stance, and your stance is like how you want to actually your character to be. So you can make them
Right,
powerful but weak to certain things. You can make them have more mana but also they're not going to hit as hard.
right.
Or you can have balance, which is where I'm usually at. I'm at balance because it's usually pretty good. I like balanced. um there's different attacks that you can use and stuff and everything, so you'll see whenever you play
Mhm.
um what I'm talking about, and as you go along you'll learn the little and see the little nuances of the game. It's a lot of fun and the humor is just really on point. The most of the uh gaming pages that did a review gave it like a 7 or 8,
Nice.
out of 10, with the exception of IGN, which I completely disagree with. I think this
IGN is
person was just
weird.
I
I mean,
know. I was
they are
like,
so
"What?"
inconsistent with
Yeah.
their reviews.
Yeah.
I don't read them anymore, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't really go by their reviews. Like
There's specific
I might
people that I trust,
yeah.
and I'll go there.
Yeah, I might go to their website for news about
News,
something. Hey,
yeah.
Nintendo is releasing blah blah blah, or these are the games that are coming out for
Oh,
Game Pass or
if
whatever.
I need Nintendo news, I go to Nerd Cave Retro. They're
Yes.
not paying us to say that.
It's yeah, you know what? Yeah, you are correct. Cuz yeah, if it's Nintendo, they're going to be talking
They're
about
gonna
it.
talk about it
But
because it's Nintendo,
I don't really go to IGN for the
right?
reviews because
Right.
I disagree so many times with them
I
on
do
that
too.
kind of thing. So I'm
It's
like,
just
yeah,
so
that's not
bizarre.
what I go for there.
A
Yeah.
lot of times. Like I
Yeah.
saw, what was it that they gave it a bad review and everybody else loved it. And I can't remember what it was. It was like it was like bizarrely critical of things. And I can't remember what it was.
I don't
But
know.
it just reminded me of that because the guy oh yeah, the guy was like very passive aggressive. That's really what it was in the whole thing.
Yeah.
It's like it's almost like he didn't like the type of game that he was playing.
Oh,
And
jeez.
it's like, well, why are you reviewing
Yeah,
this
really.
if that's not what you? I mean, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But
I know
uh,
I went to, YouTube to go look at reviews and see what they had to say when this game first came out,
right.
and IGN's review was just terrible on the video and whatnot and everything and the game. And in the
You
comments
know what?
section
That might be the game now that I
in
think
the
about it.
comments section, everybody is disagreeing with it. I was like, "What's wrong with this person? Obviously, whatever." It's
Right,
like,
this person
wait,
doesn't like these
yeah,
types of games.
yeah. And it was like they obviously, yeah. It was like this is the most unprofessional review I've ever seen. I was
That is
like,
okay. So that
yeah,
is the same one.
yeah.
That
And
because
I was
like
like, no. Everybody was like, okay, if you didn't like the game, dislike the game for legitimate reasons, not because you just didn't enjoy it because you don't like that
you don't
game.
like these kinds
Yeah,
of games.
yeah. That's
See,
it. It
and
was
I think
very obvious.
that's more of a failing of the publication than the person,
Right.
because they should have people who like certain games
Right.
assigned to
If
certain
you
games.
like RPGs, get somebody that likes
Right.
RPGs to review it because, hey, they're going to be able to compare.
Like with me, I would whenever I was working for the Married Gamers, my
Hmm.
beat, so to speak, was sports games, rhythm games, family games,
Sure.
and action adventure games.
Yeah.
So the games that I ended up reviewing was like the Madden 21, not 21, Madden 12. God, it's been so for long ago that I've done this. Max Payne 3, family game night. Uh, I did Zone of the Enders, and I felt bad because I'm like, I feel like this isn't the type of game I like, but it's an action adventure kind of.
Yeah.
Because like I was being awfully critical of the story because I remember the one thing I posted that I got a lot of feedback on from people was the line where I said they were delivering this Jahute, which is what they called the mechs in the game,
Mhm.
uh, to the war, and it breaks down in front of this little boy. So they asked this little boy, after he has murdered four people and is presumably under a lot of trauma, to finish delivering it, which I'm sure is also the policy of UPS.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
And
what it's.
the
That's exactly
you know
how things work. Yes. That's
and
exactly
the
how things work.
so yeah, I was very critical of that game's story, but I love those types of games. So
Right.
like I'll if I didn't, I would tell them, yeah, I don't think I should be assigned this game because I'm not good at them, or
Yeah.
I'm
You're not gonna
not
have a good time, and it's gonna give you a disdain. Yeah. Like it's
right.
gonna give you
And
that.
EA's not gonna like what I have to say about it, although they
Right.
did eventually get mad at me anyway.
Eh. EA
Well,
gets mad at everybody.
whenever you have a game called Family Game Night and it's one player,
What?
what else am I supposed to do?
How are you? How do you? That's not even a what?
they
That's dumb.
they did not deliver on the promise of a family game night.
That's like going to that's like doing a going to Double Dare or Family Feud and go like, "Oh, okay, one person answer for everybody." Wait a
No,
minute.
the rest of you have to sit
The rest
aside.
of you sit in the audience. What is this?
Right, that was literally what it was, because you were playing against other teams that were all computer controlled, and unless I just couldn't figure it out, which I doubt that's what it is, because we turned on another controller, we pressed start all over the place. I went into the settings, I read over the FAQ they sent over,
Oh
and I'm
my.
like, there is nothing about a second player in this game. It
That
is
is really dumb.
it is bizarre and stupid. And whenever I wrote the review, I got an email from my publisher that said, EA's not happy with you. It's like, I'm not happy with EA.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh god.
They're like,
Oh
they
man.
they might not send us blah blah blah. I forgot what game. Oh, it was the Madden game that I was reviewing next. Which,
Oh.
to be fair, I gave a perfect score to.
Oh, I mean, I don't know. I'm just
But
saying.
it was a lot of fun though to do these things. But I feel like it is on the publication itself
Yeah.
which was my original point. It's up to the publication itself to know who
Oh,
to
excuse me.
assign these things to. But
Right. Right.
but like I said, it's gonna be um, Double Dragon Grunge coming out 2024.
2024. Yes. It's Christmas
No,
2023.
right.
Let
Uh,
us surprise us way forward. Do it. Do it.
the interesting thing is, whenever you die, you are brought back to life by a crow who will who will allow you to be resurrected. And no,
Oh man.
yeah, wouldn't that be great? Look, we
That would
need to.
be
Where's our
they
game check?
yeah, they need to I know, right? They need to put in like references to like 90
The
very like
90s
90
stuff,
the
yeah.
90s stuff. Yeah, that
Like
everything that happened
at the
there, yeah.
beginning, maybe a a spaceship comes over the city and explodes it all, or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Uh,
Oh my god. Yeah,
have an
aliens.
alien come down and
Aliens.
punch
That's
her
what
in
it
the
is cuz
stomach.
there's no aliens in this game. Well, I don't know if Skelmageddon is supposed to be an alien or if he's like supposed to be a like a
I'm
magical
just
being.
evil.
Yeah, yeah, that's all it cuz they don't really explain, like his origin or anything like that. They don't get into that part.
uh,
But yeah, aliens were very much a thing in the 90s. So
they really were
yeah,
a big part of it.
oh,
Uh,
the Matrix.
yeah, I mean, you know what? We could have like bullet time
Yeah,
as
that's what I
a
said. They could add bullet time. See, there's a thing right there. Oh man, I didn't think about that. Yeah, they could do like a bullet time type thing. I don't know.
right. I mean,
Uh
and have it be a power up where like it just
right.
slows everything down, but you,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you
And
can
you can just move around really
right,
quickly.
almost like Max Payne was,
Yeah,
which came
exactly.
out in the 90s.
That's true.
Uh, but but
Yeah, I guess
yeah,
it's about time to wrap up, I guess.
if you want to follow us on social media, go to Dead Game Pod on Twitter. You can also just go to our
Link tree.
tiny URL, which is on the not tiny URL link tree, which is on the Twitter page. So
Yeah.
you just click on
Pinned.
that, and it'll bring you to everything. It'll tell you how to subscribe to all the podcasts, the podcasting pages, because we
Yes.
are available all over the place. So if you don't like where you're listening to it now, you will find a place to listen to it. If you can't find us by searching Dead Game or Dead Game Pod, try to put Dead Game together as one word.
Yes.
I can be found at the Real Big Wall. Carlos can be found at the I am the Rampage one, the number one,
Yes.
and we can both be found on those same uh, Twitch channels. And I think that's
Yeah.
everything. Is that everything?
Yeah. Yeah. That'll just about do it. Patron.
Oh yeah. Supporting this show by sharing, liking, subscribing is very much appreciated. But if you
Yes.
want to be monetarily supporting the creative endeavors, go ahead and join Patreon at patreon.com/the real big wall. You will receive access to the D&D podcast that
Yes.
we do called The Legend of the Dumpster Fire, where I am DMing a comedy focused campaign full of magic, mystery, mayhem, and manslaughter.
Nice.
You will, yeah, they accidentally kill lots of people.
It was an
And
accident, Wally.
at one point they did it on purpose, but there's it's one of those.
Look, don't touch my potatoes. I'm just gonna.
But yeah, but you also get access to that, but you also get access to screenplays I'm in the middle of working on, books
Yes.
that I'm in the middle of working on, and I will probably never finish them, so this will be the only place you can read them. So
I guess at one point, if we do get enough, patron support, we'll sweeten the deal with something. We'll figure
right
something out.
at a certain point, I feel like there is going to end up being an obligation where
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
will like maybe
I wouldn't feel right about like here, send these $3 or whatever.
right. It's only
Thanks.
$3.
Yeah, thanks for the monies.
Right.
Bye. No, I would feel an obligation to
Right. and
to give you something in return, and
right.
to
In
appreciate
fact,
it.
at some point, I might add higher tiers,
Sure.
but I'm having a hard time getting people to pay $3. So it's
Well, we're still tiny baby
we're
podcast.
a baby podcast. I
Yes.
would like to shout out our Odd Pod for being our one of our patrons, and
Yes.
Mike Eveland for also being a patron from the Jester's Court.
Thank you both.
Our Odd Pod is a wonderful podcast that you
Yes.
should be subscribed to, even though they haven't had a new episode in God knows how long.
Yeah,
Uh,
they were on a break for a while
they're
and just
yeah,
hadn't
they
they
came
hadn't gotten
back, did
yeah.
one more episode, and then left,
And
and
then they
never
were
returned.
like, "We'll be back," and then
We're spent.
I mean,
Love you, Billy. We
yeah,
really do.
but they do,
And
yeah, but they do. It is a fantastic podcast. Like
it is.
I listened to every time that an
The
episode came out.
Bone, Billy
The
Bones, and
Boneses, yeah,
the Boneses
Alicia,
are wonderful
yeah,
people. So I was gonna say, if you don't listen to their podcast, then you're boned. Okay.
yeah.
Uh, but thank you so much. Have a
Oh, no, no,
lovely.
no. Yeah, I think you mean you're boned.
You're boned.
There you go.
But join us next time where I will be talking about Disney Infinity.
Oh, I've never played that one.
Ooh, well, it's one of Savannah's favorite. I said it again.
I'll.
It's one of my daughter's favorite games, and she has almost all of the figures that came out for it that she cares
Oh,
about.
interesting.
And I say that she cares about because who cares about the Lone Ranger?
You said
Uh,
figures. Go ahead. I'm listening.
but no, what are you showing us?
Well, look. I went to the Walgreens, and now I am not a collector of pop uh figures, but I was there and I found Gore on clearance
Oh,
for $1.09.
Jesus!
It's like
Let me look up his value on the app real quick because I have an app that tells me
significantly
that-
reduced because this sticker is on, and I don't want to tear up the
No,
cover.
you can get it off the plastic with a with like Goo Gone,
Yeah,
something of that
goof
nature.
off or something. Yeah.
Let me see. Where are you? There you are. I have it in the same
This
thing
one
as all my
is
investment apps.
this one's 1043 is the number.
All right, let's see. Gore. GOR. What was the number again?
1043.
1043. Damn. I haven't collected in so long. Interesting.
Hmm.
He is worth $11.
Interesting.
And on the secondary market, that's how much he's been sold for. Man, my collection went up by like $120. What the heck?
Oh,
Oh, my Splash Mountain Pop went up to $250.
oh wow.
My Walt Disney with Sleeping Beauty Castle is up to $140. So that's interesting.
Interesting.
Oh, my Marty checking his watch went up to $100. Why did that happen?
What?
Oh, it's Marty going like this.
Yeah.
You know? Christmas Vacation Clark and Ed is 95 now. Why are all of my
Wow.
pops going up so high? Dick in a Box is 90? Dude, I'm gonna start selling my damn pops. Do you want a Drew Brees for $75?
Oh,
I'll even send it with a signed copy of his autobiography for $200.
that sounds like a deal, though.
It actually does sound like a deal.
It really does.
What his signature's going for.
Right.
But yeah, thank you so much for listening. This has become the longest episode.
Yeah, I think so.
Dead Game for the least amount of
Of actual
changes.
Yeah, I know. Bring
Uh,
me Double Dragon Neon too.
live long and smoke meats, everybody.
Have a good night, everybody. Thank you for listening. See y'all next time.
I'll be